Hey Internet World, once again is Nerdy42 here, and so I just recently saw the movie Logan, and I kind of want to talk about it. Just a bit of a warning, there are going to be big time spoilers, so if at this point you don't want to get spoilers on the movie, click away or check out one of my other videos. I'm doing a pretty consistent upload. So once again, there are major spoilers. All right, so the movie starts off. You see Wolverine, aka Logan. He's passed out drunk and he wakes up real groggy, and he's dressed in this nice outfit. So when I first saw this, I thought, like, no, maybe he was at a bar somewhere, something like that, and he passed out because he drinks a lot. But come to find out, he's a limo driver. So when he gets out of the car, he sees that there are four people trying to take his tires. And so you think, like, immediately right away, he's going to totally kick their asses and things like that. But he's a bit of a pacifist now. He's like, you can't take those tires. You'll end up stripping the bolts and stuff like that. And then they just straight up shoot him right up. And so he gets up, and they shoot him again, and then he gets pissed, and he basically kills everybody with his claws. So then we fast forward a little bit, and you find out he's a limousine driver for in Las Vegas, and he's driving these people around, driving bachelor parties around, stupid college drunks and things like that. And then the next scene, he goes across the border. There's a scene where he talks to one of the Border Patrol agents, and they have like a repertoire, so I'm assuming he goes there a lot. So he goes there, and then he goes to this smelting silo or the smelting factory in Mexico, and then you meet the mutant Caliban, he's like the extreme version of an albino. Like, his skin's white, he's got the real big yellow eyes and things like that. And come to find out, his mutant power is that he can track down other mutants. And you find out that pretty much all the mutants are gone. There hasn't been a new mutant in 20 years. So he talks to Caliban, and you find out that Logan is taking care of Professor Xavier, who, like, when you first see Professor Xavier, he's in this tipped over water tower, and he starts rambling on about the new. He rambles on like a person does with late Alzheimer's, and then you find out that not President Charles, but Professor Charles has been in contact with the mutant, and they sedate Professor Charles with Caesar medication and sedatives, because if he doesn't, then his mind goes out of whack, and he basically causes everybody to have, like, heads explode and things like that. They show an introduction scene like that. So Professor Xavier says that he's been in contact with a mutant named Laura and things like that. So then they go to the next scene. After that, Logan is at a funeral. He's leaned up against a tree drinking. And when I first saw this, I thought, it was for somebody that he knew. No, it wasn't. So he does his job. He opens up the umbrella for this girl who's attending the funeral and drives the limo and stuff like that to the funeral. And you see this one Hispanic lady in this green van, the little square ones that are in the dubstep commercials. And come to find out, she's been trying to contact Logan for ages because she needs Logan's help. Anyways, so he finally goes and confronts her, and she's like, well, I just need your help. Here's $20,000. I need you to take this girl, Laura, who's like, I think, like, I want to say 8 years old. to South Dakota because that's where mutant safe haven is. That's where Eden is. That's what they call it. He's like, okay, whatever. And so he goes back to his place, and you find out that he's saving up money to get a boat because he wants to take Professor Xavier on out on the ocean. They're both dying. Logan was told by Caliban that he's sick. He smells sick, and you get the idea that Xavier has there's something wrong in the head with them, and that's saying a lot. Him being the world's smartest or the world's greatest mind or psychic or whatever. And okay, so he accepts the job. He goes back. He's like, I gotta get some stuff, and he gets a text from this girl, Gabriella. Saying that he needs to hurry back, and he's like, okay, I'm on my way. And he takes a sweet ass time. By the time he gets there, the door of the motel she's staying at is busted in. She's dead. And he finds a cell phone, and he finds out that this lady has been working at a pharmaceutical company for these people called the Reavers, and they were trying to make mutants. And Laura is X-23 because she's the 23rd clone of Logan. Basically, Logan is his daughter, and so they go on this long thing. And then a couple things happen. When they first go there, they're confronted by the Reavers, who are like these special ops, Blackwater-looking guys who have like robotic hands and stuff like that. And X-23 proceeds to just kick the living shit out of them. And so anyways, they escape with Professor Xavier. Caliban is, you assume he's dead because he took out, I'm trying to think what his name is. He took out the leader of the Reavers, and, Donald Pierce. Okay, so he takes out Donald Pierce, who knocks him out, and Logan tells, Caliban to take him out and, kill him, basically. So when Caliban's out and about, a caravan of these Blackwater Gate people show up, and you assume that he was killed. So Professor Xavier, Logan, and X-23 escape in the limo. They escape by nearly missing a passing train as it goes by. So they're on the road, basically, and Logan, he doesn't believe this whole Eden thing, which is where they want to take X-23, also known as Laura. So, okay, so they go there, and they're on the road, and the first place that they get to, they stop at, is this gas station. And Laura, they want her to be a girl. She find out she's been living in isolation, hasn't seen the outside world, so she's missed out on a childhood. So they're letting her do things that a child would do, like ride the electric horse or whatever, and things like that. There's a scene in there where she goes in, she starts grabbing stuff, and then the cashier confronts her, and she flips out and almost kills him. So they go back on the road. They stop in Vegas, where Logan tries to get a new set of wheels. At the casino, they go in the casino, and Logan gets them a room in the Vegas hotel that he works for. And there's this real nice scene where Xavier's like, they're watching a Western film, and they talk. He's doing all the talking. Laura doesn't talk at all. He's like, Xavier's like, I watched this movie when I was a kid, and it's such a great movie. And every once in a while, they show like a message from the movie or something like that. So Logan's out buying a new car. He's at the car dealership, and he's buying a new car for $8,000. And he's like, well, I'll give you 10,000 if you just forget the paperwork and stuff like that. So he gets a new car. He comes back. Then there's a scene where like when Xavier doesn't have his Caesar medication, he causes psychic damage to other people. Like he can make the people's heads explode if it goes unchecked. So you've seen that's happening. Everybody's kind of like frozen, and there's like a shaky camera effect. And Wolverine knows, or Logan knows what's going on. So he gets up to where Xavier's at, and he finds that the Black Ops people are like frozen psychically, and he proceeds to kill one of them while they're frozen. And he ends up saving Xavier with some anti-Caesar medication. And they mentioned this one thing after that. They mentioned this one thing called the Winchester incident, where I'm assuming where Xavier had a seizure, and he killed several civilians and X-Men, and he says like he's sorry, and it makes me feel really bad for him. And then then there's another scene where Caliban is introduced. You find out that they captured him. They didn't kill him because Caliban used to track mutants for the special ops guys, but Caliban doesn't want to do it. So they expose Caliban to the sun, which causes him to burn since he's one of those extreme albinos. And they basically force him to track the other mutants down, or to track Logan and them down. And so anyways, back to the casino. So Xavier's leaving. He's in the wheelchair. He's a real defeated looking character. He's really sad. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do like this. So you find out that he has a degenerative brain disorder, and he's essentially going to die. And then you also find out, I didn't find this out until later on in the movie, Logan's dying as well. But the reason his healing factor is all out of whack, and he doesn't heal like he used to. And you don't find out until really later on in the movie that the adamantium that they put in him is what's killing him. And that's been addressed some other times in other comics as well. That no person, it's like being injected with lead almost. That's gonna kill you over time. And so they're on the road. They see this one. They introduce these electric semis. They're carrying cargo things, and so when they almost get sideswiped by one of them, they see that it ran off a truck off the road that was carrying horses. And so Xavier's like, well, we have to help him. And Logan's like, no, we should just keep going. We'll make better time. They'll catch up to us and things like that. So Logan goes back and help him. And the family they're thankful, and they invite Logan and them to dinner. So then there's this big dinner scene, and there's a scene where you find out that the family has been having problems with this other farmer who shuts off their water randomly in order to get them to move out because they want their land. So Logan confronts these people out when they're trying to fix the pump generator. So he confronts them, and he basically kicks their asses. And he breaks the gun in half, and they're all like, oh, he's a mutant, things like that. So anyways, they go back, and you see it's a nice transition because what happens next goes real smoothly. You see Xavier's, he's playing the role of Logan's dad. When Xavier's upstairs, he's been carried up there by Logan previously. And he's like, this is the first time I've really felt alive, and this is probably the greatest I've ever felt. And you see Logan come in, and he looks down at the girl, Laura, and he's like, Xavier's like, just let her sleep. She needs sleep, and just be a child. So you're like, oh, okay, that's great. So after he confesses that, this is the greatest he's ever felt, Wolverine stabs him in his chest with his claws. And it was a complete shocker. And come to find out, it's this thing called X-24, which is the successful clone of Wolverine. It looks exactly like Wolverine, but younger. Doesn't say anything, and is filled complete with rage. So then X-24 proceeds to kill the family when they come back. And then Logan goes into this rage, and he just destroys X-24. He's stabbing him constantly. But X-24 also has that healing factor. So every time he's stabbing him, the X-24 is healing. So he manages to subdue him when the father of the family crashes their truck in him. And X-24 gets impaled on a dump truck spike and shoots him numerous times. He has the claws. I don't know about the adamantium body as well. Also, you get the scene where Professor Xavier... no, it wasn't Professor Xavier, but previously, let's go back a little bit. Caliban is talking with Logan at the smelting factory, and he holds up this bullet. And the bullets, you find out, is made of adamantium, and it could kill Logan. And you find out Logan wants to kill himself. He wants to buy a yacht and go to the Gulf Coast and show Xavier a good time. Or he wants to make Xavier's last few days a good one. And then Logan's gonna kill himself. So anyways, back to that. So you kind of get the clue that X-24 is still alive. So anyways, they go back. They're back on the road. Xavier's dead. X-23 has killed a whole bunch of people. And when Xavier died, Xavier was probably the best character next to Logan. Laura, there was really no depth to her. And that's alright, because her character didn't really have a lot of depth. But anyways, Logan goes to the Spar, and he finds an old comic book, an X-Men comic book, that mentions Eden. Eden is a place that he was going to take X-23 to. And he finds out that this place is fake, and he goes there, he's pissed off, and Laura's like, she finally talks, she's talking in Spanish, and she's like, fine. Logan's like, fine, whatever, I'll take you there, and then we'll be done with this. So anyways, they finally get there, and they finally get to Eden, where they find, it's basically just a watchtower on top of the mountains. They were supposed to meet up there in South Dakota, and then they'll go across the border because they have asylum up over in Canada. It's a safe haven for them. And it's weird because that's where Weapon X came from. It's essentially where all this started. So Logan passes out, but he finally gets there. He's driven there by Laura, who pushes him over and just drives there. So anyways, you see all these people who were with X-23, all the people who were captured were part of the X or Weapon X program are there, and they all have each individual abilities. Like one can freeze stuff, and one can move stuff with their telepathy and things like that. One can move stuff with the ground, and so anyways, they're there, and Logan is given a small dose of this mutant serum to help him heal, and he knows what it is, because he says that that stuff it basically makes him into an animal. And then Richter says, if it's small enough doses, it'll help you heal. And so Logan learns that the children are planning to make it across the Canadian border. So he stays there the night, and then when he wakes up, it's 2 days passes when he was in a coma. and you see these drones fly by, and you immediately know what's going on. So he sees he sees all these drones, and he knows what's going on. He goes down to the forest and he sees all the kids, because these are pretty much all kids, the oldest being about like 14 years old. They're all running, and the Black Ops people are after him. So you know he's dying. What he does is he has the green vial of the mutant serum, and there's a note on there as well saying, like, don't take all of it, otherwise it'll be really bad. But he takes all of it to restore his healing factor, and he goes into a berserker rage, and he just kills everybody. And the kids are killing people too. You see one girl has the power. She like commands all the needles, the pine needles, to impale people. Then there's one that like fries somebody with electricity. That's the real fat black kid. But then you see X-24 is back, and so Logan is already starting. The serum only lasts for so long, and it's already starting to wear off. And Donald Pierce notices this as well, but he doesn't want to take any chances, so he releases X-24, Wolverine's clone and lookalike, and he starts a fight with him, and he's losing real badly. His healing factor doesn't work anymore. And so finally it ends with, X-24 impales Logan on the branches of a fallen tree, and you think that's the end. And when X-24 is about ready to deal the killing blow, Laura takes the adamantium bullet, which she stole from Logan, puts it in the gun that one of the Black Ops people has dropped, and shoots X-24 in the head, killing him. And so Logan's dying, and it's a real sad moment. It made me cry, and it was just great. It made him such a redeeming character. So they bury him, and they're about ready to go across the border. Laura, as they're leaving, adjusts the cross to make an X. They continue, and then continues up across the border. There was no after credits scene, but there was a scene at the beginning with Deadpool, which if you haven't seen it now, I recommend going and watching it, which I thought was really good. This movie ended on a real good note. I don't see Logan or Hugh Jackman picking up any roles or doing Wolverine again. But yeah, it was a great movie. I'll end up watching it again, and I'll end up crying like several more times. But yeah, that was Logan for me. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and stay nerdy.